Hey guys, it's September and I thought that I would go ahead and start my first series. I'm thinking maybe we'll do a coffee shop series. And I've been thinking about this and wanting to launch it in the fall when fall kicks off. And some people say fall's already here. Some people say we're rushing it. Either way, I'm going to start, okay? And I thought I would start at one of my favorite coffee shops locally called Kumba Coffee. And guys, I got a peach cobbler coffee today. I spent all that time trying to look for it. Peach cobbler. I just want you guys to know that's what it was really called. It's called peach cobbler. But I'm here. I'm sitting by the window. I'm looking at the cars drive by. I'm listening to the soft jazz in the background. I've got my iPad, got our headphones, and we are just vibing. I bought some art today. I love days like that where you can just pick up random pieces and add them to your collection. Well, that's what happens when you sit by the window. You get trucks that go by. But there's no better spot in this place, I would say. I mean, maybe one more. I could think of maybe one more spot that I would like. But right here by the window, editing videos, talking to you guys is really just a vibe. So I thought this would be our first stop on our fall coffee shop series. I'll try and go to at least 2 a week during this fall season, trying different popular local coffee shops, no big brands, just local owned, independent, family ran businesses. So guys, I'm gonna start some work now. And after that, we're gonna have some girl talk. Because if you don't follow me, you need to follow me on my TikTok. We're having the good conversation about teachers and what is appropriate to wear within the public school system. And I decided to give my 2 cents based off my experience with being in an inner city school and a suburban school. I feel like this was a topic that I could kind of relate on just because I've experienced and seen so much as a young child changing. It was like drastically. We're gonna have that conversation right here in this coffee shop. Thinking about how I want to start this conversation with you guys. And should we take a deep dive? How deep do we want this conversation to go? What should I say? I kind of just go off the dome. I understand what you're saying. I'm responding to a video earlier. But this is the original video. And so let's have the conversation. We're sitting at about 400,000 views on that right now, but we need to have the conversation about it now, okay? While it's still gaining a lot of traction, we're gonna talk about it. So, Teacher Bay, very beautiful, very attractive Black teacher. I'm seeing people say that she's a teacher in Florida, specifically Dade County. and that they are very lax on their things that they do. They're very lax on their uniforms, the way the teachers operate, the things that they allow. And it's really because, certain counties have a hard time keeping certain qualified teachers, right? I did hear that there was a program where if a teacher goes to school to be a teacher and then graduates and does I think 4 years in an inner city school, that will pay back their student loan. I'm gonna look that up and insert what I see, but I heard that's just off the dome. I don't know if that's 100% facts, but just give me a second. I'm going to get the research. Okay, we're just having the conversation, right? But people keep saying that those kids deserve better, and that those that are in those inner city schools, and that the teachers are the problem. And I will say, it's only so much that you can expect from inexperienced teachers. The system itself has to change. They offer an incentive to stay in these hood schools for a limited amount of time just so you can pay off your student loan debt. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? I would, right? But you have to pretty much thug it out through all types of terrible situations with, it's really just a poor situation. Those are disadvantaged children because financially they're disadvantaged. I mean, if you take anybody and you put them in a suburban area or better, they're more likely to thrive. It's not 100% a guarantee, but it is a higher chance of it, right? But all of those children are in one space. It is what it is. Their parents did not do what they needed to do to obtain certain income to make sure that their children could have better. But we all know that within classism, there has to be poor in order for there to be rich. So all we can honestly do is make sure that you yourself are not poor. And in this economy, that's really hard. Nowadays, you have suburbans that look like suburban homes, but are pretty much on the verge of being the hood as well. The hood has expanded. You understand? The hood can definitely be some suburban areas, especially in places like Atlanta, okay? You will go to some parts of the South Side that have beautiful big homes, and no, you still do not want to live over there. You don't want your kids over there. But the houses are very nice, okay? It's the people, it's the culture. If you give anybody with a certain mindset money and they elevate their life, and you just show them how to get more money, but they still have those old mindsets, then they are just going to elevate what it is that they already do, the toxic things that they were already doing, the bad habits that they already had. It will just continue on. So never with a change. Someone in the family has to be the change, the voice of reason, the one who sets the standards. And there's usually always one that comes along and sets themselves apart from the family, and that could be you. And then the rest of them, they just fall by the wayside and do what they do. But someone was in my comments saying that those kids deserve better and this is wrong, that you've said this because, it really has to do with so many factors, and that part is true. But what I also did see was my own experience, and I only go off of my own experience, just like most people do, and those of others that have had like-minded experience. And then we, put a census together and we say, well, most of us have had this experience, so therefore this type of experience must happen pretty often within certain communities, and that's how we come up with these statistics and these studies and so forth. So from my experience, I was a black girl that came out of the suburbs. I wanted to live with my father. My father was making good money, but he wanted to live in a certain type of area because he wanted to save money on what he paid. Now, he always found something very lavish because there's always nice, unique homes within the hood area. But I went to live with him not knowing what I was getting myself into. And even though I ended up having a great time at this inner city school, it was a culture shock. Everybody was black except for an albino. There was one albino. The culture was different. The way they dressed was different. I was wearing Abercrombie and Hollister. My best friend's name was Haley, and I was completely culture shocked as a black girl. But they didn't expect me to be culture shocked because I'm black until they found out where I was from. I eventually, put up my mask and learned how to blend in, became tougher, got into my first real fights out there, and, had to just learn to survive tragedies, things that I should have never seen, things that I should have never experienced, teen pregnancy in the masses, having relationships young, focusing in on relationships because we were losing funding. We didn't even have an art center no more. They shut down the art center. We didn't have a field. We had to all share a field. Going to school on certain sides of Atlanta were no joke, and that's why those kids, they feel the way that they feel, and they act the way that they act because they have to feel tougher. They have to put on a mask in order literally to survive. So once my parents noticed that I was changing, I was becoming a different person. I wanted to get tattoos. I wanted to hang out. I wanted to go to house parties. I wanted to hang with the bad boys. I'm wearing my hair in certain type of styles that they had never seen me in. My whole personality is changing. I'm running with the bad girls. I'm doing sports. Yeah, that's true, because who didn't do sports? I was doing sports out there, track and step team, but I was also still into shit. And I did get bullied for my voice. You're an Oreo, you're this, you're that. And I know that there might be other black girls that have had that experience. And so I decided, this is enough of this. It was really once I experienced my first tragedy of loss out there, I just had to get out of there. And my parents, decided it was better for me to go back to another side, Cobb County side, where about Hillgrove, Sprayberry, Wheeler, Walton. That was what I was used to. Diversity, mixed race. We had a lot of Brazilians, Chinese, black, white, Indian. We had a mix of everything. Cobb County was the place to be. So once I went back, I was forever changed. I was not the same. I was a little rough around the edges. I was harder. I was more ghetto. I was more street. I was more accepting of things that I shouldn't have been accepting of, habits that were not that good. But I picked these habits up from out there. But even still watching the teachers, they were very bad. The teachers were very bad. The teachers were young. They were sleeping with each other. They were having sex with each other. They were getting involved in the drama, in the fights. I know they wore sneakers and shorts a lot, sneakers and pants a lot to be able to run down the aisles to break up fights. A lot of them just sat there on their phones. Two of them tried to sleep with my dad. It was bad, and my dad was definitely going because he thought he was fine. Mind you, he had one of the best cars out there. My dad drove a very nice car. He's very handsome. He attracted the ladies, and it was just very embarrassing because they made it very embarrassing for me, and they knew I was already sticking out like a sore thumb, and I will never forgive some of them for that, but some of them were cool. I ain't gonna lie. But just knowing that a nice car caught my eye, you guys. My bad. But just knowing that it was the character of people out there as well that were the problem. It was the type of people that were out there. These were young people. So what happens is they offer this type of incentive for kids out of college to do this. And so you flood these inner city schools with teachers that are young, just so that they can go on better and, build up the resume and move on. And you're kind of forcing one collection of people to get the worst type of experiences from a teacher possible. Granted, there's a one-off teacher or whatever that just really wants to help and be involved in there. And the rest of them, they're just trying to build up their resume and get on, and they know that. There are programs. There are community centers that reach out. There are activists that come to try and get a hold of these inner city boys. So there are programs, but it doesn't work. They might say 1 out of 10, realistically. It doesn't work. Eventually, they just stop coming to see you. They stop linking up with you. The streets have a hold of them, and there's nothing that you can do once the streets get a hold of them. And that is the truth. That is reality. And some people don't like reality, but I'm accepting of it because I've seen it and I understand it, and it is a mindset. There will always be a one-off that wants to leave, that wants to trailblaze and want better. And hopefully that's you, if you're in that type of school system. Or ever were, But, yeah, I got on from it. My dad said that I wasn't learning shit, which was true. I was getting straight A's because it was easy. Maybe not straight A's, but you know what I'm saying. It was pretty easy. There was no challenges. Everything kept getting shut down. Funding was lacking. There was no PTA. The PTA was dissolved. The parents were not involved. The same thing that I said in that video. I very much meant it. So that is how I feel about it. And I know that some people are going to say, damn, that's real. And some people going to have some hate to say. But it is my experience, and my experience is my own. And it forever shaped my childhood, and it forever shaped who I am and how I look at the world, and the things that I try and keep my son from, because my son has not seen the things that I have had to see and that I have had to deal with, trying to be cool, trying to be accepted, trying to be down, to put up a mask and a shield so that I didn't have to be ostracized. And eventually I got friends and blended in, but there was a reason for that. I had to. If you can't beat them, join them. And I had to survive out there until my dad realized that I was changing and sent me back. But it was too late. It was too late. But yes, it would be great if those teachers gave it their all. But would it really matter to kids that are facing hunger, violence in the home, having to watch their siblings so their mom can go work the late night shift at Popeyes, KFC or something? Would it matter? Sometimes we'll never know. But our experience is our experience, and your experience is your own. And that is mine. And we're going to have more of these conversations at coffee shops like these. We're going to drink more coffee. It's really good too. But I'm going to thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to finish my coffee and get to some work. And like I always say, do 1% better a day, get your bag, and stay out the way. Thank you. I'd like to get these two. I'm sorry. Let me put this down.